Welcome back to week 6 of gravity. Today we're going to be talking about Newton's law of gravity. Now, just so that we're clear, our learning target for today is that we will be able to explain gravity according to Newton and his law. You may have heard the story about Isaac Newton coming up with the idea of gravity when an apple fell out of a tree and hit him on the head. Well, I'm sorry to say, the story isn't true. But seeing how things like apples fall to earth helped Newton form his ideas about gravity, the force of attraction between things that have mass. Of course, people had known about the effects of gravity for thousands of years before Newton came along. After all, they constantly experienced gravity in their daily lives. They observed over and over again that things always fell to the ground. However, it wasn't until Newton developed his law of gravity in the late 1600s that people knew gravity applies to everything in the universe that has mass. Newton was the first one to suggest that gravity is universal and affects all objects in the universe. That's why Newton's law of gravity is called the law of universal gravitation. Universal gravitation means that the force that causes an apple to fall from the tree to the ground is the same force that causes the moon to keep moving around the earth. Universal gravitation also means that while Earth exerts a pull on you, you exert a pull on Earth. In fact, there is gravity between you and every mass around you, your desk, your book, your pen. Even tiny molecules of gas are attracted to one another by the force of gravity. So here's a question to think about. Newton's law of universal gravitation had a huge impact on how people thought about the universe. Why do you think it was so important? So why was this law of universal gravitation so important? Take a moment and think about that. Feel free to pause the video if you'd like. You have your answer already? That's awesome. Well, welcome back. So why is the law of universal gravitation so important? Well, Newton's law was the first scientific law that applied to the entire universe. It explains the motion of objects not only on Earth, but in outer space as well. Now, there are some factors that have influenced the strength of gravity. Newton's law also states that the strength of gravity between any two objects depends on two factors: the masses of the objects and the distance between them. Objects with greater mass have a stronger force of gravity between them. For example, because Earth is so massive, it attracts you and your desk more strongly than you and your desk attract each other. That's why you and your desk remain in place on the floor rather than moving toward one another. Objects that are closer together have stronger force of gravity between them. For example, the moon is closer to Earth than it is to the more massive sun. So the force of gravity is greater between the moon and the Earth than between the moon and the sun. That's why the moon circles around the Earth rather than the sun. So in summary, Newton's law of universal gravitation states that the force of gravity affects everything with mass in the universe. That includes you, your cat, your house. Everything in the universe that has mass is affected by gravity. Newton's law also states that the strength of gravity between any two objects depends on the masses of the objects and the distance between them. So, looking back to our learning target, are you able to explain gravity according to Sir Isaac Newton's definition? Excellent. If there were any parts that you forgot or want to review, you're more than welcome to look back at the video again. Otherwise, please move on to the examples and videos and activities that follow. As always, stay healthy and stay happy. We'll be talking later.